Okay. Well, hi there. Glad to see everybody's here today. We're getting ready to start, and I'm just showing. At this point, I'm showing nothing on the screen except the empty room that I put the text over. I see that Kat's here, Ishan's here, Paige, Chad, Kilron. Got a good number here. Shows that I've got 16 people on board with us already, so that's good. 17. So we're getting a good critical. Gonna switch to a device I'm using to watch. Okay. Be right back. See you when you get back. Kunal, good. Getting a good number. That's really good. Okay. So everybody's here. Robert's in the control room, ready to keep things going, and we're getting excited to get things going. Got 4 topics here for you tonight. You see them up on the screen there, and the first topic was inspired by one of our students. It was one of the, I believe it was one of the articles that was submitted this week by the students. So it's a good one because it talks about how blockchain is being used again in the real world, and it's more than just the real world. It's also a blockchain application that has real world application in a lot of different areas, and that's what's going to be significant about the particular branch of topics that I'm going to talk about today. Simply because we're going to start in one place and we're going to go from topic to topic as each article mentions a different piece of their puzzle. So that'll be significant too. So let me get the browser window up here and click that. So the first topic I want to talk about today is Chainlink. Because Chainlink is unique in the idea that it uses a thing called oracles. So in discussing now that I have all the cameras on, the first topic I want to talk about today is Chainlink. Now Chainlink is unique because it goes and it uses a thing called oracles. Now, we're not talking about Oracle, the company. We're talking about oracles in a very different way. So I'll get to that here in a moment. So what Smart Chain does, or Chainlink does, is it is a cryptocurrency chain that allows people to use their smart contracts, but connect them to other data sets. Now, we're talking about big data. We're talking about data that is created by machines, such as weather satellites, weather transponders, weather stations. If you're talking about weather in particular, you're talking about stock tickers. You're talking about machine-generated data that can be captured in its raw state and fed through a blockchain, and then the smart contracts can act upon the data that is being fed to it. So let's say that you have a stock application, and the stocks are going up and down and doing their thing that stocks normally do. So during the trading day, let's say a user decides to use this particular Chainlink application. This Chainlink application has the stocks being fed into it and the data being fed into it, and the particular stock that you're interested in is one of those stocks that it gets current information about. And so you decide that you want to put a sell order in at a certain price, or a stop order, meaning as it goes down you don't want it to go below a certain price, so you're going to sell. And or on the other side, if it goes below a certain thing, you want to buy it because you think it's a good deal at that particular price. Those kinds of smart contracts is really what blockchain and smart contracts are all about. So what Chainlink has created is an environment where you can connect several different data sets to it in order to then write smart contracts to look at conditions that are set in order to execute the smart contract when that condition is tripped. Okay? So, real easy one, of course, is like the buy order. When it gets below a certain price for a particular stock, I want to buy it, and I want to buy this number, and the money is already set up in the smart contract ready to be spent as soon as the condition is met. That's what DeFi, or distributed finance, is supposed to do for people. Is it's supposed to do real work in situations that the person can't react fast enough or do the work fast enough, or isn't in a place to be able to do that work. So in looking at this particular, I don't want to work for them, looking at this particular one, what you see is they're trying to advertise the fact that you can program it really, really easy. It has an infrastructure that's highly secure and reliable. Okay, they're going to tout that, of course. So if we were to say, if we were to answer again the question, what makes a cryptocurrency valuable? What makes a cryptocurrency valuable is having a use case. In other words, it's solving a problem. You don't make a sale to somebody unless you're helping solve a problem. I don't go to a hardware store to buy a particular product because I don't have any problems. I'm just going and buying toys. No, you don't go to a hardware store to buy toys. You go to a hardware store to solve a particular problem that you're having at home. Maybe you need to fix your plumbing or things like that. So here what you're trying to do in a cryptocurrency environment is you're trying to solve problems, and your blockchain will be valuable if you are capable of solving real-time problems for people. So they're going to tout that their infrastructure is secure, and then it's going to advertise that you could actually program and deploy your own smart chain contract. Okay, so what's Chainlink? Here's the key right here. It says Chainlink greatly expands the capabilities of smart contracts by enabling access to real-world data and off-chain computation while maintaining security and reliability guarantees inherent to blockchain technology. So literally it's the combination of big data or IoT or Internet of Things data right in with this particular blockchain and smart contracts. And here they give some information about the people that are within the company and kind of what they've worked on before. Stanny has worked on Aave before, and Synthetics, Trader Joe, and Arbol, and the various people that are involved in building the company. So there's the first kind of look at Chainlink, but I would like to dive in a little bit further into the idea of what's an oracle. I mean, an oracle just is literally data from the outside world sent to a blockchain. It's very specific data. In this particular one, they're using the temperature. They're going to look at weather. The example they use for this particular one is a farmer who buys insurance against crop failures. And so the idea here is you execute a smart contract that says if the farmer gets enough rain in the particular year, then the contract doesn't pay him. But if he does not get adequate rain, so that there's maybe a drought, or gets too much rain and gets flooded, the smart contract then pays out. It's kind of like attaching it to an insurance company or an insurance policy. So an oracle literally, as I scroll down through the picture, an oracle literally sends data from the outside world, such as daily temperature or the number of votes for a political candidate, or various different pieces of data like the stock market to Ethereum in this case. Now, Chainlink works off of their own blockchain. This particular one uses Ethereum as the example of a smart contract in there. Chainlink on their blockchain has smart contracts similar to Ethereum, only it's focused towards the Oracle data. Now, there are some problems with oracles. It points this out. The fact that if the data is not coming from a trusted source, it can be gamed In other words, if the person providing the data or the entity providing the data could game the data in order to get payouts from the smart contract. But applications, you can use a lot of applications, and here they mention Chainlink, a link back to our the topic that we're talking about now, where these smart contracts can then create more data and more information concerning particular topics. Like it could keep track of, whether Joe Biden is going to win the 2024 election, and keep compiling all of those, all of the data on all of the surveys that have been out and published, for example. So that is our trip through Chainlink and what an oracle is all about. And so I'm going to go ahead and pause for a few moments while we reset all of our equipment, and we'll see you back in about 2 minutes. Any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat window, and we'll answer them when we come back. Welcome back for another one. We have on the screen our next topic. Blockchain is useful for a lot of different reasons, of course. And if I used to work with a commercial insurance company. In fact, I was a field underwriter for an insurance company, and so I'm kind of familiar with the market and what they're talking about here. So we're going to talk for a moment about how a reinsurer would use the blockchain. Okay, so this particular article is a little bit hard to read until you realize that blockchain powered reinsurer, Re is the reinsurer. That's the name of the company, is Re. Okay, fine. Once you get over the fact that it's hard to pronounce and it looks like you're putting a prefix in front of every word that you talk afterwards, they raised $14 million worth of capital in order to build a decentralized reinsurance market. Now, what is reinsurance? In a nutshell, what reinsurance is the insurance behind your insurance policy. So let's say you go out and you buy a house for $500,000 and you go to Farmers Insurance and they insure your house, okay? So your insurance company issues you a homeowner's policy. It insures the house and all of its contents and a couple outbuildings. and basically gives you the peace of mind to know that if you get into a hurricane like it was what is trampling through Florida today, that you're going to have a chance to rebuild and gain back your property. But the challenge, though, is if farmers were down in the Tampa Bay area where that hurricane was hitting and going through, they would be liable for a lot of damage in a singular event. And so in a couple of days, they could rack up billions of dollars worth of liability to pay out to homeowners. So what happens is the minute Farmers goes and sells you a policy, they turn right around and have an automatic reinsurance contract with a company that takes back some of that insurance for themselves. So part of your premium that you pay Farmers is to pay for the primary amount of coverage. In fact, you'll pay them the bulk of the policy premium simply because they're going to be settling the claims. They're going to be paying the first, let's say, $50,000 to $100,000 of the claim, and they're going to be doing all the adjusting and all of the paperwork and everything that goes along. They're the people that are the face of the companies that are insuring the house or the property there. So the point here is that if you had a smart contract in a blockchain that would execute and immediately be triggered when there's a situation, you would immediately have payout without having to engage a bunch of clerical type people in order to push paper around to look at the policy, read the policy, make sure, the lawyers take care of looking at the policy, making sure that that is a particular claim that was payable, on and on and on it goes. In other words, insurance is just a contract, and smart contracts are just contracts. They're very, very similar. In fact, a smart contract can be made exactly parallel with any type of legal contract that is available to pay money. And so this reinsurance company is literally going to take and create smart contracts that get automatically executed whenever one of their customers that they're backing up or reinsuring comes up with a new policy, automatically puts the policy in force for the reinsurance, and then when it has a claim triggered, automatically pays the company like Farmers or primary insurer is what they call them. The neat thing about this article, too, is this picture here. That's a picture of the floor of Lloyd's of London. Now, Lloyd's of London is a very complex entity in and of itself. It does a lot of these commonplace sort of homeowners reinsurance contracts, yes. But what it also has is it also has a whole desk of underwriters that get these wild, strange claims like mega yachts and huge skyrise buildings that don't have a cookie cutter way of writing the insurance. So that's what Lloyd's of London does. But Lloyd's of London is a popular example of a reinsurance company. They do not write primary insurance except in some very exotic cases where you've got very, very high value items for a particular type of deal, like ensuring the physical well-being of an actor that has a career and relies on his or her being able to function. And should he or she get into an accident where an arm is broken or a leg is broken or face disfigured or anything like that, Lloyd's of London would be the place that you'd get that kind of insurance. So having a blockchain in this situation, incredibly strong way and manner of reducing a lot of costs. You see, the one thing in this picture is that there's a lot of people. And it takes, in the current insurance market, a lot of people to execute and push the paper around for all these contracts. Having a smart contract is going to make it a lot easier for all of us to get better insured, faster claims paid, and better peace of mind. So that's our topic about the reinsurance market beginning to get into blockchain. An incredibly powerful method to do that. So we'll go ahead and grab another 2-minute break, and we'll reset things, and we'll be right back.
We like to go live just in time to see the forehead.
Yes, just in time to see your forehead. Well, what I have on my screen is something that's exciting that's happening. It's not the blockchain channel that we've been posting all these videos to and have the live stream on, but it's the other channel that started doing the blockchain live streams and all the blockchain videos, and then we had to split them off because the blockchain was diluting the SEO for this particular channel. And so this channel talks about Word and Excel and Word and Excel and Microsoft Access, mostly Access, and that's the one I listed last for some reason. So you can see that it's progressing. It's a little bit further along than the blockchain channel by quite a bit. It's about a year older. So anyway, anybody wants to go visit that channel to learn more about Word or learn about Access, Microsoft Access, in fact, the class that I teach for Microsoft Access here at Lindenwood, I teach it every summer, is all the videos for that class are in this particular channel. So let's move on to our next topic.
This is also where the APA and MLA formatting videos are.
I'm not sure.
They are.
Yeah, this is where the APA and the MLA videos were posted. So I think you watched the APA one, the APA template one. Okay. So what I want to talk about in this segment is a new blockchain called Avalanche. Well, I don't know that I'd call it a new blockchain, but it is another blockchain that is seeking to solve problems. And here we go back to the value proposition. What makes a cryptocurrency valuable? What makes a blockchain valuable? Well, what makes them valuable is solving real world problems. And Avalanche has some unique, interesting issues that they're working with. And so what I wanted to do is focus a little bit on what Avalanche is all about and what they are trying to accomplish, okay? So, welcome to the multiverse, that wonderful term that Facebook tried to steal and that seems to be more of a gaming universe than a real universe. So it seems to be, the Web3 multiverse is more of game sites where you can immerse yourself in games. And we're going to get to that here in a few moments. The thing is, this one is very, very fast. This network, the big key for this one is that they built a network that is incredibly fast, and it uses smart contracts like Ethereum and a lot of others. So you're kind of getting the idea that there's a lot of competitors trying to take Ethereum down. And part of the challenge that Ethereum had, and part of the reason they needed to go to the merge and eventually to sharding, is because their network had become slow, it had become very expensive, and it was difficult to build apps on them. So they need to now run after a lot of more nimble competitors that are in the market. Now, we just talked a little bit about Chainlink and the problems they're solving and the things that they're doing. Avalanche is approaching it from a little bit different side. And so they are incredibly fast. There is a video here that you can watch about it if you wanted to come back to avax.network. So what's possible? Building fast, low-cost, Solidity-capable dApps, or distributed applications. Now, those distributed applications can be games. They can be distributed finance. They can be anything that you happen to imagine, okay? It can scale to millions of validators with very little hardware because they have a proprietary type of proprietary type of consensus algorithm that allows them to very quickly validate the transactions and put them into the blockchain. And you'll see more about that in a moment here. So if we come down here, here's where I wanted to end up. Because what they did is, here they wanted to highlight the fact that they've made a very extensible and very speedy blockchain. So they're comparing it to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Polkadot. I'm not quite sure why. Probably because Polkadot's their nearest competitor as far as speed. So transaction throughput, 7 transactions per second for Bitcoin. Pretty slow and pretty sluggish. Ethereum, 14 transactions per second. Once they have sharding, they're going to get up to a much higher number of transactions per second. We don't know exactly where they're going to end up, but Ethereum is addressing the slowness of their network. Polkadot is 1,500 transactions per second. But Avalanche contends that with subnets, they have an infinite amount of transactions per second. So here's the issue. Subnets, do they sound a lot like sharding? Yes, they do. It's the ability to split off, and the subnet and the subnet then acts like a blockchain in and of itself. Okay, so the next thing is transaction finality. It takes Bitcoin 60 minutes to finalize your transaction. 6 minutes on Ethereum, 60 seconds on Polkadot, less than 2 seconds on Avalanche. So you're getting the picture here. As far as energy efficiency, Bitcoin is not energy efficient. It uses ASIC machines in a proof of work status. They burn up a lot of electricity in order to close blocks and finish things up. Is Ethereum very efficient? GPUs, maybe. But Ethereum, as they go into proof of stake, won't be using even GPUs. So they'll use a lot less electricity. Yes, Polkadot is very optimal. CPUs can run their proof of stake network. And then, of course, you've got CPU is optimal for Avalanche. So you can become a validator with Avalanche and use your CPU. So number of validators, thousands of nodes for Avalanche, and you've got, 3 pools, it looks like, with greater than 51% of hash rate. Currently, there are 3 pools that run 51% of Bitcoin's network. That's concentrated pretty heavily into very small number of places. There's only 2 pools with Ethereum. And thankfully, that's now being broken down into a proof of stake model, which will greatly disperse that and make it much more distributed. Polkadot relies on less than 200 nodes, where Avalanche literally can do thousands of nodes. Symbol protection is a level of security, and that is illustrated by proof of work versus proof of stake. And the safety threshold is 51% with Bitcoin. In other words, if one pool gets 51% of the hash rate, they're in danger of that 51 taking over the network and stealing coin. Ethereum is the same 51%. Polkadot is only 33% have to take over, and they've got a security issue. Where Avalanche's proof of stake method, which is proprietary, like I said, can handle up to 80% in one hand and still be safe and secure. So the whole idea with Avalanche is simply that they are striving to be a very fast network, where I mentioned that Ethereum was going to work on competing with MasterCard and Visa. If you put a distributed finance app on the top of Avalanche and had it functioning properly to compete with Bitcoin, with Visa or MasterCard, it probably would do it quite handily. So let's look at the idea of the subnets. So when you want to develop an application on Avalanche, the first thing you do is create a subnet. Now let's look at a couple examples. Gaming, okay. I did say that gaming was one area that they could just divide it into a subnet and show and build up an application. I have investigated Kribata. I've not gone into DeFi kingdoms. So I'll show you a little bit about Kribata in the next section. So more games are launching soon, and for some reason, for their subnets, they're highlighting games. Okay, that might be the idea that games tend to drive new technology. You get people hooked on games, and they can work out the problems with speed, with throughput, with graphics, and those types of things while developing a game and getting people hooked on getting people hooked on just playing and working through things. Okay. So I flipped through 4 of the different games that they're planning on launching soon on Avalanche. So as we go down here, we do have some institutions that have put their blockchains on Avalanche. Using Avalanche's speed really is important. They've got some native know your customer functionality. That's a banking thing. So that banks know their customers, or distributed finance apps can know your customers. Got some native coding for that. That helps in that regard of developing those types of subnets. Financial applications will, become the foundation of global financial markets, and they align well with Avalanche. So there's a lot of institutional interest in Avalanche as well. And they have a whole bunch of other companies that are collaborating, because literally you've got a lot of developers with a lot of ideas, and they tend to split up and want to do their own projects, but at the same time they collaborate to develop the foundational coding to distribute and build on the applications that have to reside on top of them. So you find that a lot of the applications that are being built on top of it, their experts will also collaborate with the baseline code to make sure that it stays as robust as it can be. So you find a lot of collaboration with Ethereum and with Avalanche and with all the major blockchains out there. Okay, so that's a little bit about Avalanche and what it can And that's the end of this particular thing. Okay, Seth, don't do that. Seth, I didn't say anything. Okay, we got something going on. I'll take a 2-minute break and come right back. Answer your questions there. Put them in the chat area, and we'll answer those after the break. Okay. All right. So, as we talked about at the end of the last, one, we talked about Web3 gaming here, and we talked about this Krabata. Now, part of the challenge that I am having with crypto games is the complexity that it takes just to get started in the game. So I'm going to go through Krabata and let you know what it takes to get started in their game. And if you'd like to go, dink around with it, play with it, it doesn't cost a whole bunch to buy your initial Krabata and go explore. So here is their wonderful website. If you click on this button here, you get to this website. Now this website is really, quite cool. It's quite colorful. My 8-year-old grandchild would love this particular website. And that's part of the problem. It's a little bit cartoonish for me. So you can go to their marketplace. You can go and you can stake these Krabata coins. And you can go to the Swimmer Network, which seems to be another whole thing that you can do here. So now remember, this is part of the Avalanche network. The back end to this is the Avalanche blockchain. Being a blockchain, they're going to expect you to attach a wallet. So when we go talk about an exciting undersea adventure and go down here and join the battle for treasure and keep on going and go to do one of these 3 things, we then will be paying money to do so. Okay. Now you can earn rewards once you buy your initial crab. You can go for an exciting adventure once you buy your initial crab, and the initial crab costs about $5. So it was $4 and some change. Expand your Krabata forces. You could buy multiple of them so that you can do your battling for glory, and win more battles that way. And so then you can build your Krabata here by adding the particular body parts that you want and make it look the way you would like it to look. And then you can go and decide to download it from your particular you know, your particular environment. If you like to play on your computer, you can download it for Windows. You can download it on your Mac, or you can download it on your iOS device or your Android device. And if you have a non-Android device like a Kindle or something, you could try their APK and see if it'll install and run, let's say, on a Kindle or a non-fully Android device. Okay. Now, in order to do so, what I'm going to do now is when you install it for Windows, this is what you get. And you start with this welcome letter, and you could click to learn more to learn more information about it. And so, but I'm just going to close that. And here's the information. Well, here, in order to log in, I already registered. In order to log in here, you enter your email. Robert, type my email address, would you? And send a code. Now Robert's going to go ahead and take over the mouse here, and he's going to grab the code when it comes. There it is. And he throws the passcode up there and logs in. Okay. Now I'm logged in, but I don't have a... It does have a soundtrack, by the way, if you didn't hear that. And it sounds like the guy with the big boombox in his car playing all the big boom boom type music that when you hear them go by, it's that kind of music. So at this point, I can't really play any further than this, but let me show you what it takes to get fully set up, okay? So the first thing you do...
I'd like to interrupt for a second just to note there is no password for this game. It's run entirely on one-time use codes sent to your email address, which is why we didn't bother blanking it out as a one-time use code. But it's an interesting system. I'd like to see that a little bit more secure in the future, but that's what it is.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close the actual Windows part of the game, and I'm going to come up here, because what you have to first do is you have to go to the marketplace. Okay? And so being in the marketplace, it automatically logged me in because I had already set up the marketplace. In order to buy a crab, you need to buy the TUS token. And the CRA token is what you can stake in order to earn money, just like you would when staking any coin. But the TUS token is what I would use to buy this crab, for example. And so I'd buy 18,800 TUS, and notice that it's $4.68. So it isn't really expensive to get started. I could start with the lowest priced crab here and be just fine. Now, in order to get this far, though, I had to go to Android and download the Coinbase wallet. The Coinbase wallet looks like this. And so when I downloaded the Coinbase wallet, I could then go here. Now, the interesting part about it is you have to download the wallet first. And then once you download the wallet, you then you can then get yourself connected to that wallet. And the way it does that is you tell it that it's either a Coinbase wallet or there's one other brand of wallet that it asked you for. And either one works just fine. But what happens when you choose the Coinbase wallet is that you have to then go to your phone and approve it on your phone so that you can get the wallet connected. Once you get the wallet connected, what happens is this icon right here is actually an NFT. And it's an NFT that has attached with it certain attributes. And here's, the amount of life, and this is the amount of, this is a sword weapon, and this is a shield, protection in various aspects, things that you'd find in a normal game. So once you have bought it, it will appear in here under your NFTs. and that would appear. So you would have possession of it. You walk away and you'll own that NFT forever as long as as long as you keep hold of your wallet and don't lose your wallet. So that's what it takes to get set up. The challenge that gaming for blockchains is going to have is simply there's way too many steps to get started. You have to start by knowing how to download a wallet. You have to know what a wallet is. You have to know that you're buying an NFT. You have to actually load your wallet with dollars so that you can then go purchase the TUS involved, which you then are able to exchange for then you're able to exchange for the actual NFT here, which is the Krabata in this case. Once you have your Krabata, then you can launch your game. You can get logged into your game, but you have to do that through your email, and then you can put that code in to get into the game, and then you can start exploring. And frankly, I'm into this probably an hour and a half at this point, and I haven't begun exploring my first area yet. I ran out of time before the class started, or before this live stream started, so I wasn't able to get that far so I could demo it for you, maybe next week. But that is the challenge that that blockchain games are going to have. It's a bit too cartoonish for me, and most every blockchain game I've seen has been very cartoonish. The only exception to that is that the Upland game looks like a map. I can buy properties. I understand what properties are. When I buy a property, it can appreciate. It can get more wealthy. It can be sold. It can collect rents, on and on. But all the other games, oh, give me WoW, please, or give me, what's my other favorite game? You can tell it's my favorite, can't you?
Guild Wars?
Guild Wars, yes. I started playing Guild Wars when WoW kicked me out. They claimed I was some Chinese defector that was stealing a bunch of gold. But anyway, so I'm still a little bitter about that. But anyway, they're going to have a hard time competing with games such as WoW and Guild Wars and those, first-person shooters and games that really have that fluidity in them such that you can almost play real time. They've got a long ways to go before they can get to that far. So let's go over here. Blockchain gaming really lends itself to pay to win. And he says, not my cup of tea. I agree. Sea Monkeys 2022. What's that about? Is there a game called Sea Monkeys?
I don't know.
What's Esteban's real name? He's one of the Smith brothers, isn't he? Steve. Hey, Steve, can you tell me what Sea Monkeys is, or should I search for Sea Monkeys?
Searching the internet live on a live stream.
That's dangerous, huh? Yeah. By the way, I use Brave. Why do I use Brave? Because it makes me a little bit of money every once in a while. Okay, nope. No response from Steve yet.
Hey, Dad.
Okay.
There you go.
He's saying it's the digital form of the Sea Monkeys that you used to buy and add water to. Oh, those.
Yeah,
Okay. They were brine shrimp. From shrimp to monkeys. Okay. Is that what you... Yeah, thanks, Cameron. Very good. All right. Any other questions, folks? Did you pop that up, Robert?
What? No.
Okay. All right. Well, how about if you call for the roll and we'll adjourn for tonight. All righty. Everybody just kind of sign in, let me know you're still here, and then we will see you next week. I guess it takes 3 people to explain it. It might not have been a good... Okay. Alrighty. By the way, we had everybody here today. I want to thank everybody for coming. It was really good that everybody on the roster was here today. Okay. Stu Smith out. That's cool. What?
Do you want to sign off?
Let's make sure we've got everybody.
Okay.
Make sure we've got everybody before we sign out. So go ahead and start marking. Change the screen then.